Okay, so where I go to, people do not think that World of Warcraft is a very powerful series. And, excuse me, what? These people are usually people who do not know a single thing about World of Warcraft and how powerful they actually are. Now, how powerful is World of Warcraft? Well, franchises like Halo and Mass Effect, despite how powerful they really are, don't stand a single chance versus World of Warcraft. I'm not joking. Now, since we don't know the full extension of the Naru, the Void Lords, and the Titan that is in Azeroth right now, in the game, lore-wise and playable, we don't know how powerful they are, so meh. So what I'm gonna do is let's compare them to some others, or at least let's compare one of them, at least one. Since Void Lords are the most powerful thing in World of Warcraft, I'm not joking, as well. Now, I will tell you how powerful they really are. With basically a swipe of their hand, they have released over hundreds and hundreds of thousands, maybe even more, maybe a couple of million or billion old gods. Now, these old gods are very, very powerful themselves, and they are just a single creation of the Void Lords. Now, the old gods can corrupt titan souls, warp time, and they also have mind manipulation. Now, franchises like Dragon Ball Z and some others, a lot of others, don't have even one or two of these powers. In Dragon Ball Z's case, they don't have time warp or mind manipulation. At least not what I have seen, or they have not given the evidence for that. Next, Dragon Ball Z does have characters who can be killed and stopped, even if it's a quote-unquote god. Now, God, from what I see in the definition, gods cannot be killed. A god is literally unkillable. So take the one above all, or someone like him. And that's basically who it is. That's Marvel for people who don't know. Next, the armies of these Void Lord, or old gods, I should say, are vast. They are almost there's not really a number, so infinite, basically. However, it takes time to make these monsters. These, it's a pretty vast army. They're made up of faceless ones, which are basically brutes from Halo, except for bigger, stronger, and basically have magic on their side, and they're not completely dummies. They are they're really interesting creatures. We don't actually know any of their origins, so saying that they can beat any other race would basically be biased, but by their size and their strength, I would say that, because the most powerful faceless one was something the Slither, I think it was. Don't quote me on that. He was so big, he lived in a ravine, like, you know, the Grand Canyon? Yeah, that's a really big ravine. That's basically where he lived. And he was bigger than the ravine he lived in, basically. And what the Titan Forge had to do in order to kill this guy this one dude, they sent 20 other guys, and only one survived. And this one, like, barely survived. He was, like, almost near death, actually. So that wasn't even that great of a fight, honestly. It was really one-sided. Next, we have, like, these guys are really, really powerful and all this other stuff. They can take on multiple people at the same time. And, like I said, extremely powerful. Besides that, I really can't give you that much, because we don't know anything. Next is the Akir, which is basically what the old gods use as their labor force, their army, and the rest of their builders. The faceless ones are more like, kind of like generals, but they're not really. Kind of like privates or officers, kind of. Because they're really, really, really strong. These Akir are really the foot soldiers of today's armies. And these are very, very numerous. They're bugs, basically. So that's why there's so many. There could be hundreds of thousands within, like, a single colony. And there could be a million colonies. So getting through that is not going to be a cakewalk whatsoever. Unless you cut the planet in half, which is what a single Titan did to kill other old gods and the rest of its minions, and also other demons on another planet, but this planet in particular he is saving because of the Titan soul that is being built inside. These oh yeah, the numbers, or not the numbers, but the Akir are actually not how can you say that? Not affected by time. It was stated that they are not affected by time, and they are immortal as well because of Warcraft. Okay. These are, again, they're really disproportionate, each one, but most of them, there's different, like, types of Akir, but most of them are pretty strong, pretty agile, and all this other stuff. So they're basically all athletic. Otherwise, you won't be able to make it alive. Next, the Catraxi. Actually, I love saying that for some reason. I don't know why. The Catraxi are the generals of the army, of all the armies, of the faceless ones. They're basically, not even generals. They're kind of like, they're called generals, but they aren't the actual ones making the decisions. That's the old god that's doing that, and telling of who to go where and what to do what, all this other crap. Now, the Catraxi are extremely powerful. They took down a Titan Forge, which is really, really strong. These Titan Forges, I don't even, like, they can easily build, like, castles and make entire armies made out of metal and rock, and actually build up huge armies in order to fight them for them. And these guys, it took two of them. No, I'm sorry. It took two Catraxi. Oh no. It took two Catraxi to kill one, and one of the Catraxi did die. Fortunately, because these guys are not really. These guys are really big and really, really strong. They're much stronger than the Akir and the Faceless ones. There's also the Merciless ones. How creative, I know. But the Merciless ones are also a part of the army, but they're more of the Magi, or the magic ones. So not really that interesting, is it? Okay. So that's all I'm gonna say. Otherwise, this video is gonna be about an hour or two long. The only franchises I can think of right now is DC and Marvel, and maybe some other animes like I don't know, Saitama or something. I'm not into anime, so I don't know too much about it. But these World of Warcraft is not an army, or is not a franchise, based off of only magic and swords and shields and axes and all this other Viking brutish stuff. It's not. It's more than that. The Burning Legion, I'll be surprised if anyone can destroy the Burning Legion. First time, first serve. Now, if you can do that, you'll impress me. Otherwise, I'm not impressed. Well, the Burning Legion, you also have infinite demons if you aren't in the if you're not in their world. Then you have infinite Foot Clan to deal with. Now, as I said before, only DC and Marvel have that kind of stuff, but other beings, such as like ones who can destroy entire planets and all this other stuff, like with a hit or so, then yes, this is not gonna be that big of a deal for you. But again, what was it? The Naru and the Void Lords, we still don't know their full power, so I mean, I don't know how easy it is going to be to fight, but let me just tell you what, the Void is endless. There is no limit to the Void, but the Void Lords, I think there is a limit, but that limit is so past everybody else's. Now old gods, I'll go back to old gods. These old gods they can challenge the Burning Legion pretty easily, and I am not joking. Now, during the war, the plan of the old gods, this was after they were imprisoned. Yeah, I know, right? Imprisoned. Yeah, right. Now, after these monsters were imprisoned, there was a plan by these old gods. Now, I'm talking, when I say old gods, I don't mean the really old ones. I don't mean those. Those old gods are beyond powerful. They are the second most powerful thing in the game. But I'm talking about the new one, because that makes more sense in my mind. In the new one, they're like they're pretty big. They're like Walmart-sized beings, and like, no joke, they are Walmart-sized beings, and these things have a lot of power and a lot of power potential as well. But Titans and Sargeras and all these others are much more powerful than them, but in the old version of the lore, they were the second most powerful thing in the game. It took several Titans to hold their ground, and it'd take even more to defeat one. Like, legit, that would be scary and terrifying. That is basically the video that the Naru. I'm not going to get into the Naru and what the Void Lords are and all these other things are, because, again, we don't know. Yeah, I know, right? Dragon Ball Z logic. But basically, don't assume that one army is better than another, because when I was always thinking that, Dragon Ball Z, who can stop Dragon Ball Z? Then I searched up these franchises, and I got into World of Warcraft lore, not the game. No, I'd like 20 years back, please. The game, I'm good, but the lore is very interesting. There's all other unique races that also use ki. Yes, that thing that Dragon Ball Z characters use. Yes, there is ki in World of Warcraft as well, so that's going to be very interesting. Now, this is basically... Oh yeah, the Naru. The Naru, we really don't know what potential they have yet. There is a character, his name is Illidan. He actually pushed a Naru away from attacking him and, obliterating him. Because that's what the Naru totally do, even though that's the first person that ever would happen to. But, not trying to get sidetracked. Basically, the Naru are... I think they're almost limitless creatures, but they limit themselves. So they're not as powerful as the old gods, and they're not as violent and vicious as well. They're like the light, and the Void Lords are the dark. That's basically World of Warcraft for you. And it's very interesting if you're not into the lore of World of Warcraft. I highly suggest you go into it before you make assumptions and all this other stuff. But yet again, I have friends who are complete morons in school about the franchises that they claim to know, and they don't know anything. This is the video. I hope someone at least went like, okay, I'ma check it out. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment if I said something wrong or if you don't agree with me, and we'll have a conversation down there. Goodbye.